Hey guys, this is Film Express. My name's Nova, and today I'll be talking about Jordan Peele's third big studio film, Nope. I was extremely excited for Nope this year. After I saw the trailers, we saw a little glimpse of aliens, we saw Daniel Kaluuya, Kiki Palmer, the cast looked incredible, the cinematography looked incredible. It looked very promising right off the bat, so I was very excited to see this film. I ended up seeing it opening week, but it took some time to do my review and to get my thoughts together for this movie. So here we are today talking about Nope. Jordan Peele, right off the bat, we'll talk about his first film, Get Out. Get Out is a masterpiece to me, a very tight, focused, restrained script that has a strong social commentary, very strong thrills, and it never really tries to punch above its weight class. It really knows what it wants to be. Now, I wouldn't say the same about Us. Unfortunately, Us, it's such a messy film, and I really think it misses the mark, but that's a conversation for another day. Today, we're talking about Nope. As soon as this film came out, a lot of people were comparing this film to the works of Steven Spielberg or John Carpenter, Close Encounters, Jaws, The Thing, Halloween. People are basically saying that Jordan Peele is the next master of horror, that he's able to provide thrills on the level of these filmmakers. After watching Nope, I'm starting to think that instead of Steven Spielberg and John Carpenter, Jordan Peele is more like M. Night Shyamalan. The last time anybody in Hollywood compared a filmmaker to Steven Spielberg and John Carpenter, that was M. Night Shyamalan back in the day. He came out as a promising filmmaker. He had a couple of really great films, but the quality really dipped really quick. We really grew to see that M. Night Shyamalan didn't have strong stories to tell or really big ideas on how to execute his themes and his endings. So, Nope is almost like an M. Night Shyamalan film. Like, Nope is way more closer to Signs and The Happening than it is something like Jaws or Close Encounters or Arrival. In all honesty, it does not hold a candle to a film like Arrival at all. There's been a lot of controversy about this film. There's been a lot of controversy about what Logan Paul has said about this film. He went on film Twitter and expressed his negative thoughts about this film, saying that it's a mess, that none of the ideas come together, that it's quite a misfire, only to be met with a reception of people giving him crap all over Twitter and all over the internet, and people just coming at him, coming at his neck, saying that he doesn't understand film, that he's not the right person to speak about films. He may not have the cinematic vocabulary to explain why a film like Nope is such a mess, but it truly is. It's a messy, scatterbrained attempt at being a good film, and really fails at delivering on the themes that it sets up in the first and second act, and almost contradicts itself at multiple times throughout the film. There's arguments today that film literacy is dead. There's many YouTube videos criticizing Logan Paul for this and saying that film literacy has died, and I'm here to present the argument that film criticism is dying to this day, because somebody like Logan Paul cannot express his negative thoughts about a film without getting completely attacked for all the wrong reasons. If you really break down what Logan Paul is saying as an audience member, he's actually quite right, and I hate to say that, but this film is kind of branded as a sci-fi horror, but I did not get any of the horror that I wanted, and I got none of the legit sci-fi that I wanted. When I think about it, this film almost offered me nothing. There are ideas about animal exploitation. There are ideas about the hypocrisy of wrangling and taming nature for the sake of showmanship and spectacle. There are ideas about spectacle, about the lengths humans will go to for the perfect image, for clout, but none of these ideas really come together in a rewarding way, and none of these ideas are really approached that other than offering just the tip of the iceberg, that the ideas are there. Like, yes, we know animal exploitation is bad, we know wrangling animals and wrangling nature for the sake of human spectacle is bad, but what is Jordan Peele really saying here? These ideas could have been explored in so many better ways. Like, in this film, we have Steven Yeun's character, Jupe, and his story with Gordy, which ends up being the coolest, most unique sequence of the film, but also feels super out of place and almost like a different movie. That character and that narrative thread really expands on the themes that Jordan Peele is exploring. We have Steven Yeun's character, Jupe, witness this horrific chimp attack on a Mad TV-like show. This chimp, Gordy, just snap and suddenly attacks a bunch of humans and kill them, but he doesn't attack Steven Yeun's character. He ends up giving a fist bump, which ends up being a really cool, cute moment. It'd be so interesting if the film tried to expand on this theme much better by giving Steven Yeun's character almost like a god complex. Like, he grew up thinking that he's invincible, that no animals will hurt him, but instead you have him almost have this sort of PTSD, but that also never gets fully explored either. Like, the PTSD comes out in a couple lines, but ultimately he hasn't really learned anything from that experience. Almost he ends up just back to the ways of wrangling animals or putting on a spectacle out of animals and the creatures that nature presents us. So I feel like that really was a missed opportunity to extend that storyline. either delve deeper into giving him this god complex that he can survive anything, or really delve deeper into the PTSD so that he's afraid of animals. The PTSD of that event is debilitating him instead of enabling him to do more in his life and become this big actor who's, again, putting on shows, putting on big spectacles out of nature in that one scene that we all know. We also get this idea that Peele wants us to feel bad for Gordy, obviously, for what's happened, because humans have wrangled him and put him in this situation where he's obviously not comfortable and outside of his comfort zone in his environment. So when a loud noise or a loud flash happens, he snaps, right? So we're supposed to feel bad for him. We're supposed to present humans for putting animals through this. We're supposed to present humans for growing up like Juke, not having learned any lessons from witnessing something like this. But then somehow Peele manages to miss the mark on this bigger theme by having us cheer for humans, Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer's character at the end of the film, for killing another big creature of nature. They're harming nature for the sake of spectacle, for the sake of that Madonna shot, and at the end of the day, they're really perpetuating the same issue that all the other humans in this film are perpetuating. Like, there is no growth, there is no rewarding theme, there is no lesson learned. I really find that kind of lacks logic. Now let's talk about the element of fear in this film. Like, you're supposed to have this cloud in the first act that's supposed to be scary, which it's not. It's hilarious. That cloud somehow turns into the bottom of a cowboy hat. It really looks just like a hat. I don't know if that's supposed to be scary. Is the bottom of a cowboy hat supposed to be scary? I found it extremely goofy. Suddenly, in the third act, this bottom of a cowboy hat takes on its final form and evolves like a Pokemon into like a jellyfish that's mixed with curtains and drapes. Like, it's the least scary thing I've ever seen. It's absolutely hilarious. A weird attempt at sci-fi, a weird attempt at portraying aliens. It's supposed to be a metaphor for like the fallen angel. I didn't find that to be strong. It's supposed to be a replication of these weird UFO sightings that people have seen over time, and I didn't find it strong at all. It really came off goofy, hilarious, and really weak, underwhelming. When you think about the fear aspect in this film, that's supposed to be the scary creature, the element of fear, and that just came off so funny. The two scariest scenes in that film, there's one scene where these kids are wearing masks, these alien masks, and they approach Daniel Kaluuya's character and give him a scare. That scene is really cool. It ends up being super underwhelming, and when you actually think about that scene is ripped off from like maybe 10, 15, 20 other horror films that have done the exact same trick to give you that little jump scare and to pull the rug from under your feet. It's such a tired trick that completely lacks originality. And then another really fantastic sequence that ends up being super creepy is when the floating cowboy hat ends up floating over the house and spewing a bunch of blood and bodily remains onto the house. It ends up being a really creepy moment. It's visually really cool, shot very iconically. But then when you actually think about that, how many films in the history of horror have done a scene like that, where there's like this calm before the storm moment, and then all of a sudden a huge rain or influx of blood that comes in, completely enveloping our characters and imposing a threat for later? And I'm thinking something like The Shining, Nightmare on Elm Street, It Too. Just 3 examples off the top of my head that have done exactly what that scene has done, if not better. I'm not going to say It Too was better, but the other 2 films that I mentioned, Shining and Nightmare on Elm Street, are super iconic versions of that exact same thing. It really boggles my mind because he's clearly a super capable writer, and he's proven that with Get Out, and he proves that in some of the moments in the script. His last 2 projects, Nope and Us, really suffer from a lack of focus, a bunch of scatterbrained ideas that Peele really wanted to incorporate in the film, and I'm sure this makes like 13-year-old Peele really giddy, but none of these ideas really come through in a rewarding way. And if you watch interviews with Peele, he mentions that a bunch of times, like something like the Akira slide or the little IMAX camera that the cinematographer uses. He incorporates these things because he specifically mentioned that would make teenage him very giddy. You have Mad TV references, you have a Scorpion King reference, you have these IMAX camera reference, you have the Akira slide, you have all these extremely random homages, Easter eggs, and references that are so scatterbrained and really have nothing to do with the actual theme and the ideas of the story, that the story ends up being super held back. Now, again, I'm really struggling with the characters in this film. You have Daniel Kaluuya's character who sees his father die. He's this silent cowboy type, and his face does not change the whole film, even if he's faced with a freaking curtain jellyfish alien alien, his face does not change. I think Keke Palmer was really great. Like, she added a lot of charisma to her performance. She was energetic, she was funny. It would have been really cool to have a stronger dichotomy between these two characters, where you have Kaluuya just like super grief bearing over his father, trying to do his best for the farm. You have Keke Palmer really wanting that Madonna shot. She really urges the brother to go for it and push him out of his comfort zone to do these things. But you get a glimpse of this idea at the start of the film. Kaluuya's character OJ is maybe focused on being true to the farm and true to his father's wishes of keeping the farm authentic for maybe 10 minutes in the beginning of the film, and that is completely dropped. And you have all these side characters that are supposed to be, interesting and cool, and maybe they're entertaining, on surface level, but as soon as you break it down, like they walk into this sort of Best Buy type store, go to see the Geek Squad, and the first guy that they meet ends up being this guy who's also like an alien nut and is super passionate about helping them and getting involved into all this. Like, it's super convenient, super lazy writing. And then you have the cinematographer character, which is one of the cringiest, most ridiculous characters that I've seen in a while. You're introduced to him in a really cool way. He's editing this footage of like animals preying on other animals, which really plays into the theme, like who's the predator, who's the prey. Also super heavy-handed though, like it's kind of cliche at the same time. It's just trying to be cryptic for the sake of being cryptic. You have these crazy ideas that get set up in the first act, like what we're talking about, the animal exploitation and the wrangling themes for sure. But you have this one little cool motif where it's like animals really snap when it comes to flash photography or something reflective in their eyes, like the horse and Gordy have both reacted that way. And it could have been really cool to see that pay off in the third act. It would have been really cool to see them use that type of technique to take down this curtain in the sky. But at the end of the film, where we're cheering for humans to hurt nature and to hurt a creature in nature again. And it would have been super interesting to have them kind of learn this lesson and let it go. Get their Madonna shot. It benefits them, sure, but they didn't have to kill it. They end up killing this creature with this inflatable donut or burger sign, I forget what it was. It's counterproductive to the theme ultimately, and it really leaves a weird ethical and moral ground for what the film is trying to say about, again, animal exploitation, wrangling, predator and prey, and the sakes that we go to for spectacle. Like, why are we again cheering for humans for killing a creature for the sake of getting their Madonna shot? That's super morally wrong, at least as an audience member who's trying to critically analyze this film. I find that super problematic. I find it's funny because anytime that there have been criticisms that are brought up for this film, a lot of people are quick to point out something along the lines of, oh, the themes went over your head. But I think there should be an argument for the sake of cinema. If a theme is just simply present in the film, like the tip of the iceberg of a theme, is that simply enough for the film to be considered a good film, or that director writer to be considered a genius? Or do the themes have to be well thought out, well explored, and should they have really strong arguments provided for the pros and cons of the themes and the deeper ideas that they're trying to explore? Because that's my argument. I think that it's just not enough for Jordan Peele to incorporate these themes. He really fails in this film at making these themes thought-provoking. It's a lot to think about, and there's a lot to digest in this film for sure. At the end of it all, I really think it comes down to it being a super surface level attempt at being a deeper, metaphorical, cryptic, allegorical film. It really fails at even rewarding the audience with a lot of the setups in the first or second act. Again, I was super underwhelmed by that alien. I was super underwhelmed by a lot of the spectacle. A lot of the scenes ended up giving me nothing to walk away with, or just ended up making me laugh. The scene with the cinematographer at the end, like basically sacrificing himself, was just super hilarious. A lot of OJ's just blank stares and emotionless face. I just felt that was just a waste of such an amazing talent. Like, Daniel Kaluuya is such a fantastic actor, and to just see him go through this film emotionless, not even changing his facial reactions once or his emotional range once, is just such a shame. Somebody who's capable of giving an Oscar-winning performance basically phoned it in. And maybe that was the intention, to give him this strong silent cowboy type, but that didn't make for entertaining cinema at all, in my opinion. It's just really unfortunate. So those are my thoughts on Nope. It's weird to say that Logan Paul may be right, but I really urge people to kind of just raise the standards of cinema. Like I said, like, we've all been so used to watching very, very mindless MCU films for so long. The palette has just gotten so washed up. When a film like Nope comes out, everyone gets so excited that there's just like a hint of a theme and a glimpse of a theme. The argument really needs to be made if a director or a writer is doing enough, or if a theme needs to be well explored, thought-provoking, well thought out, and at least give the audience something to walk away with. Maybe I'm too critical. maybe my standards are too high. But again, it's not about not understanding a film like this. It's about thinking that these attempts at being metaphorical, or these ideas, are very layman, very surface level, very elementary at the end of the day. As a whole community, we really need to up the standard for cinema. So what did you guys think? That's my little critique, my analysis, my review of Nope. I took some time to think about it. I really hope that you guys found something of value in this review. Please like, please subscribe, please dislike if you disliked it, please comment. We can have an open discussion about any movie here. So if you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm absolutely wrong about Nope, please tell me why, and please tell me why you think it's a masterpiece. I'm really open to hearing it, but I really had to share my thoughts on this because there was no fear for me, and that's really what it comes down to. There was no sense of wonder, a lot of questionable decisions that just really took me out of the film. I'll never forgive that movie for giving me this curtain draped jellyfish alien creature in the sky that was basically a cloud. I find that was just hilarious. It really comes down to this film almost feeling like a first draft more than anything. So my name's Nova, this is Film Express. These are my thoughts on Nope. Please like and subscribe, and let's get the discussion rolling, guys.